Don't overthink it. Most of us would say, 1 cent? Well, what if I told you there's a humble little penny out there that could make you a millionaire? Yep, a penny. Specifically, the 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, which recently grabbed headlines for being valued at a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Imagine finding that in your old change jar. That's not pocket change, that's life-changing. Today, we're diving into what makes this little copper wonder so valuable, how you might just stumble upon one, and why you should probably stop tossing those pennies into the couch cushions. Stick around, you'll want to hear this. What's the deal with the 1968 no-mint mark penny? So, what's the story here? The 1968 Lincoln penny, like most pennies from that era, was supposed to have a mint mark indicating where it was made: Denver, D, San Francisco, S, or no mark for Philadelphia. But this particular penny? Nada. Zilch. It's missing its mint mark. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, big deal, it's just a printing error, let me tell you, that tiny mistake is a very big deal. See, mint marks are like the return address for coins. They tell us where they were born. A missing mint mark usually means something went wrong during production, making the coin rare. And when it comes to collectors, rare is like catnip. The 1968 penny with no mint mark is so rare that experts believe only a handful exist. It's basically the unicorn of pennies. All right, let's talk numbers. Why would anyone drop $1.8 million on something that, to the untrained eye, looks like pocket change? Well, it's all about demand. Coin collectors, aka numismatists, go bananas over rare finds like this. It's not just about owning the coin. It's about owning history. This little penny has survived over 5 decades without losing its luster, literally and figuratively. Plus, its unique error makes it a one-in-a-million find. Combine rarity with high demand, and you've got a perfect storm for sky-high value. Also, let's not forget the bragging rights. Owning a $1.8 million penny is like being part of an exclusive club where everyone's obsessed with shiny metal discs. Now, here's the $1 million, or should I say $1.80, could you have one of these babies hiding in your coin jar? Maybe, but don't start tearing apart your house just yet. It must be from 1968. No exceptions. There should be none. 0. Blank space under the date. The better the condition, the higher the value. If it looks like it's been chewed by your dog, chances are it won't fetch $1 million. I once spent an entire weekend digging through my change, convinced I'd find a rare penny. Spoiler alert, I didn't. But I did find a 1943 steel penny worth about $15, which wasn't too shabby. Moral of the story? Even if you don't strike it rich, treasure hunting can still pay off in smaller, fun ways. Let's say you think you found one. First, congrats. Second, don't sell it to the first person who offers you $20. Get it authenticated by a professional. Organizations like the PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, can verify its authenticity and grade it for value. If you don't know a trusted appraiser, avoid shady Craigslist ads. Let's not turn your $1 million discovery into a cautionary tale, okay? All right, folks, there you have it. The incredible tale of the 1968 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Who knew a tiny, overlooked coin could be worth millions? So, the next time you're about to dump your change jar into one of those Coinstar machines, maybe take a closer look first. That little copper coin could be your golden ticket. And hey, if you're into stories about finding hidden treasures in plain sight or want more tips on spotting coins worth big money, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss what we've got lined up. Who knows? Your next big payday could be jingling in your pocket right now. Or maybe you're just here because you found a penny in your couch cushions and heard it might be worth more than your car. Either way, welcome. Today, we're diving into a coin that's causing quite the stir in the collector's market, the 2017 P Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. It's worth a jaw-dropping $1.9 million. Yes, that's million with an M. So, grab your change jar and stay tuned, because this could be the moment you strike it rich without ever setting foot in Vegas. All right, let's talk about this little copper superstar. The 2017 P Mint Mark penny isn't just any penny. It's a special issue that celebrated the 225th anniversary of the U.S. Mint. For the first time ever, The Philadelphia Mint decided to add their P Mint mark to the humble Lincoln cent. Before that, Philly pennies were the undercover spies of the coin world. No mint marks, no recognition, just quietly doing their job. So, why is one of these worth $1.9 million? Great question. Most 2017 P pennies are still worth, well, a penny. But this particular coin is special. It has a minting error, a double die strike on Lincoln's portrait that makes Honest Abe look like he had a bad day at the barber. This error is super rare, and collectors are willing to pay big bucks to own it. We're talking the kind of money that could buy you a mansion, a yacht, and still leave you enough change for a pizza party. Now, let me tell you a little story. A few years back, I was digging through an old piggy bank from my childhood. You know, one of those plastic ones shaped like a cartoon pig that barely holds any coins. I dumped it out and started sorting through the change, feeling like a modern-day treasure hunter. That's when I found a weird-looking penny. It was scratched, a little dirty, but something about it caught my eye. Turns out, it wasn't worth anything special, just a regular old penny that had been run over by a bike or something. But hey, it gave me a great excuse to learn more about coin collecting. Anyway, the moral of the story is that treasure could be hiding in plain sight, even in the form of pocket change. The 2017 P penny with this error is so rare that most people wouldn't even recognize it if they had it. And that's where you come in. Grab a magnifying glass, get your Sherlock Holmes hat, and start inspecting those pennies. Now, before you run off to check your couch cushions, here's how to identify the $1.9 million penny. Look for the P mint mark under the year 2017. Inspect Lincoln's portrait for doubling, especially around his face and hair. If it looks like he's auditioning for a sci-fi movie, you might have something valuable. If you're unsure, take it to a coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. These experts can verify its authenticity and value. By the way, even if you don't have the error penny, some 2017 P pennies in pristine condition can still fetch a few bucks from collectors. Not a million, but hey, it's more than a penny. So, there you have it, the incredible story of the 2017 P Mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny and why it's making waves in the coin collecting world. Who knew a little copper disc could be worth more than most people's retirement plans? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories about coins that are worth big money. Plus, who doesn't love the idea of finding a hidden fortune in their pocket change? So, go grab those pennies, start your treasure hunt, and remember, you're just one coin away from changing your life. Hey there, coin enthusiasts! You're rummaging through your pocket change, tossing aside some pennies like they're just pennies. But wait, what if one of those pennies is worth $1 million? Yeah, I'm talking about a 1998 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, something that could literally turn your pocket change into a fortune. If you're like me, the first time I heard about this, I thought, no way. But believe it or not, it's real. So, grab that jar of pennies, because by the end of this video, you might just be sitting on a gold mine, or at least a very shiny $1 million penny. Let's dive in. Alright, let's start with the basics. What's the big deal with this 1998 penny? Well, normally, pennies minted by the US Mint have a mint mark. You know, that little D or S on the front, right under Abraham Lincoln's bust. It tells you where the penny was made, Denver, San Francisco, or Philly. But in 1998, there were some pennies that were accidentally minted without a mint mark. Yep, they slipped through the cracks, no D, no S, just a plain old penny. And guess what? These bad boys are super rare and highly sought after by collectors. Now, I know what you're thinking, okay, cool, but how much is it worth, really? Well, buckle up, because a 1998 no-mint mark penny can fetch up to a whopping $1 million. Sounds like something out of a treasure hunt movie, right? But it's true. How does that happen? Well, it's all about rarity. Pennies get made by the billions, but a few got struck without that mint mark, and those little mistakes are like hidden treasures. Coin collectors lose their minds over this kind of thing. They love the mystery, the history, and the rarity. They see a coin like this, and they're ready to pay top dollar. But hold your horses. Before you start thinking your entire penny jar is about to make you a millionaire, there's a catch. Not every 1998 penny is worth that much. You'll need to have one that's in excellent condition, maybe even mint condition, pun intended. We're talking sharp details, no wear and tear, and ideally, one that's been well preserved. So if you've got a penny that's been through a few too many washes, don't start planning your yacht party just yet. Let me tell you, I learned this lesson the hard way. A few years ago, I was feeling pretty good about my coin collection. I had all sorts of pennies, old ones, shiny ones, even a few from my kids' piggy bank. Thanks for those, kids. One day, I stumbled upon a 1998 penny and thought, could this be the one? I rushed to check it out, and guess what? It had no mint mark. I thought I was going to be the next million-dollar coin star. But as I examined it more closely, I realized something. It was scratched. It had been dropped, tossed around, and was nowhere near the mint condition you need to cash in on that million-dollar jackpot. I could have cried. But instead, I learned a valuable lesson. Condition matters more than just rarity when it comes to coins. So, what should you look for if you think you've got one of these hidden gems? Look closely for the missing mint mark. You want to make sure it's actually a 1998 penny with no mint mark. Check the condition. The better the condition, the more valuable it's going to be. Mint condition coins are pristine. No scratches, no dings, no dirt. Get it graded. If you think you've found one of these, the best way to find out its true value is by getting it graded by a professional. It's like getting a report card for your coin, and trust me, it makes all the difference. The 1998 no mint mark penny is one of those rare finds that can seriously change your life. It's like finding a $100 bill in your coat pocket, but way cooler. You might just have a future millionaire in your change jar, and all you need to do is check carefully. But remember, not every penny is a gold mine. So don't go tossing your pennies aside just yet. Keep an eye out for those rare ones, and who knows? Maybe your next trip to the bank will make you rich. Before you run off to check your pockets, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips and tricks for finding coins worth big money, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your coin hunts. Imagine you're going through an old jar of pennies your grandma gave you. You know, the ones you've tossed aside in your closet for years because, hey, pennies are pennies, right? But what if I told you that tucked away in that jar, you could find a coin worth over $1 million? Yeah, you heard me right. A penny, worth $1 million. You'd probably think I'm pulling your leg. But stick with me, because today, we're diving into one of the most interesting coins in American history, the 1949 wheat Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, it's not your average penny. Now, we all know the classic Abraham Lincoln penny, right? It's been in circulation for what feels like forever. But the 1949 wheat penny? Well, it's not just any old coin. It's a piece of history that could be sitting in your pocket right now without you even knowing it. So why is the 1949 wheat penny so valuable? Let's break it down. First off, these coins were minted right after World War II, in 1949, a time when things were slowly getting back to normal in the US. But here's where it gets interesting. There were some minting errors that happened in that year. Some of those errors were small, but for collectors, those small mistakes can make a huge difference in the value of a coin. And as you know, collectors are obsessed with rare, unique coins. They'll pay big bucks for them. Now, I'm not talking about just any 1949 wheat penny here. I'm talking about the ones with specific errors, like double die varieties or the rare proof coins. These little mistakes or features make the coin stand out, and believe it or not, they've been known to sell for around $1.10 million. Can you imagine? A coin that was worth just 1 cent when it was minted, now worth more than $1 million. If you think about it, that's like buying a cup of coffee for $1 and finding out it's worth enough to buy a car. Kind of makes you want to start flipping through your old pennies, right? Let me tell you, I had my own personal penny moment. I remember going through some old change from my grandmother's house a while back. She kept a jar of coins that was probably from the 60s. No one ever thought much about them, but I was curious, so I decided to take a look. Now, I didn't find anything that special, but imagine my surprise when I came across a 1943 steel penny. It wasn't worth $1 million, but it was definitely worth a lot more than the penny I thought it was. Turns out, even those little changes can make a big difference if you know what to look for. So here's the thing. If you're finding pennies from 1949 in your pockets or jars, don't just toss them aside. Take a closer look. If they have any signs of those minting errors or unique features, they could be worth way more than their face value. It's the kind of thing that can change your financial outlook if you get lucky. And hey, even if you don't strike gold with the next penny you find, there are plenty of other rare coins out there. So, if you want to keep learning about coins that could put a serious dent in your wallet, make sure you hit that subscribe button. I'll keep bringing you tips, tricks, and strategies to find the valuable coins hiding in your collection. You never know. You might just stumble upon your very own $1 million penny. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to give that bell icon a ring so you don't miss out on more tips about what to look for in your change. If you've ever found yourself flipping through your pocket change, hoping to spot that one special coin that could make you rich, you're going to want to stick around for this. I'm about to tell you about a coin that might be hiding in plain sight, just waiting to make you a millionaire. Yep, you heard me right. The 2020 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. And let me tell you, this little copper-clad treasure could be worth up to $1.2 million. Yes, million. Before you toss that penny you just found on the sidewalk into your change jar, let's dive in and see if you've stumbled upon a potential gold mine. No, seriously. This could be your ticket to the big time. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably don't give much thought to pennies. I mean, they're basically the change we don't want to deal with, right? I can't even remember the last time I spent a penny without feeling like I had to justify it. I'll take the pennies, but just to avoid that weird clinking sound in my pocket. But what if I told you that pennies like the 2020 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth up to $1.20 million? Let's take a quick history lesson. The 2020 Mint Mark penny is a part of the regular circulation pennies that you and I probably have lying around in our drawers, or worse, stuck under the couch cushions. But here's the kicker. The value of these pennies skyrocketed because of an error that's been pretty rare. We're talking about a double die error, which means the coin has a weird, almost ghostly second image stamped on it. It's not some fancy modern art, though. This is an actual mistake from the minting process, and it's enough to make collectors go wild. Now, before you get too excited and start inspecting every 2020 penny in your collection like you're on an archaeological dig, let's get one thing straight. Not every 2020 penny is worth $1.2 million. Unfortunately, it takes more than just a 2020 to make you a millionaire. The magic happens when you find the penny that has this double die error, which is super rare. We're talking about a tiny number of these bad boys that have the error, and it's not something you'll find just lying around. It'll make matters more interesting or frustrating, depending on how you feel. The value of these coins isn't even based solely on their condition. Sure, a penny in mint condition is going to fetch more, but there are plenty of pennies with the error that are still worth a good chunk of change, even if they're a little worn down. So, if you want to test your luck, grab a magnifying glass and take a good, hard look at that 2020 penny. Check for the faint doubling in the lettering or the date. If you find it, congrats. You've just discovered a coin worth more than its weight in copper. Seriously, people are out there paying big bucks for these errors, and if you're lucky enough to find one, you could be holding on to a literal treasure. But here's the thing. Even though these coins are out there, most of us aren't going to just find a $1.2 million penny in our spare change. I mean, imagine walking into a convenience store and handing over a penny for a pack of gum, and then realizing you just traded a fortune. Talk about buyer's remorse. Speaking of random finds, I actually had a pretty funny experience recently. I was cleaning out my junk drawer, the one with a mountain of old receipts, random paper clips, and maybe a dozen expired coupons, when I came across a whole bunch of pennies. At first, I just sighed and thought, ugh, these are never worth anything. But then, something told me to give them another look. I spent the next few hours, yes, hours, meticulously going through each penny, trying to find a hidden gem. I didn't find a $1.2 million penny. Shocking, right? But I did come across a few rare ones with minor errors, and they were worth a lot more than I thought. The moral of the story? You've got to be patient and persistent, because you never know when you might strike gold. Or in this case, copper. So, there you have it. The 2020 Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth a fortune if it has that rare double die error. It's a long shot, but sometimes life's all about taking those chances. Now, if you want to keep learning about coins, how to spot valuable ones, and just maybe how to retire early from your penny collection, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on future tips and tricks for finding treasure in your pocket change. And hey, If you've already got a collection of these rare pennies or any other coins you're curious about, drop a comment below and let me know. Who knows? You could be sitting on $1 million collection and not even know it. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next video, where we'll dive into even more coin tips. If you're like me, you probably have a jar or a drawer somewhere filled with random pennies that you think are worthless. Well, I've got news for you. Some pennies are worth a whole lot more than the change sitting in your couch cushions. Today, we're diving into one particularly special penny, the 2007 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, if you think that sounds like just another coin you might find while cleaning out your pockets, think again. This penny is so rare. It could be worth over $1 million. Yeah, you heard that right, $1.3 million. So grab your magnifying glass, because we're going to break down everything you need to know about this rare find. Stick around, and who knows? You might just be sitting on a fortune. So, let's talk about this penny. The 2007 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny isn't your typical penny. It has a unique twist that makes it stand out among the millions of other coins produced. You might be thinking, 2007? That's not exactly ancient history, right? And you're right. We're not talking about a 100-year-old relic. But this particular coin came from a production error, and when you find one of these, you're basically holding a little piece of numismatic history. You see, in 2007, the U.S. Mint was cranking out these pennies to celebrate the 200th birthday of the man himself, Abraham Lincoln. The reverse side of the penny featured a new design to honor Lincoln's contributions, and the obverse, that's the side with Lincoln's face on it, was updated too. But here's where it gets juicy. The 2007 D Mint Mark penny you're looking for has something special. There's a variety of these pennies, but some of them came off the production line with a very distinct feature: doubling of the mint mark. That's right, folks. If you've got one of these pennies with a D mint mark that looks a little off, like it's been doubled up, you could be holding onto a coin worth a small fortune. Now, let's get into why that doubling makes it so valuable. When these pennies were minted, something went a little awry with the engraving process, causing the mint mark to appear twice. Kind of like someone pressed copy-paste a little too enthusiastically. This error, although minor, makes the coin incredibly rare. We're talking fewer than 50 known to exist in the wild, and some have been sold for a jaw-dropping $1.3 million at auction. That's right, $1.3 million for a coin that was originally worth just 1 cent. Kind of makes you look at your spare change in a whole new light, doesn't it? Let me tell you a story. A few years ago, I was going through some old change I had lying around, just like any other normal person would do. Nothing too serious. I remember pulling out a penny and thinking, hey, this looks a little weird. Maybe it's just the lighting. I didn't think much of it, tossed it into my jar of pennies, and moved on with my day. Fast forward a few months, and I'm watching this coin expert on YouTube, who clearly knows way more about coins than I do, talk about rare pennies and how they can be worth a fortune. I remembered that weird penny from earlier, grabbed it, and guess what? It wasn't the 2007 D double die mint error, but it sure looked like it could have been. I had to laugh at myself. How many pennies like that do I have floating around, and I don't even know it? Always check your pennies, folks. You never know when you'll find a hidden gem. Now, how do you actually identify if you've got a 2007 D double die penny? Great question. The first thing you'll want to do is get up close and personal with the mint mark. It should be on the bottom right of the coin, near Lincoln's shoulder. If you see a double image, like the mint mark looks blurry, doubled, or has a shadow effect, then you've likely found a treasure. Of course, it's also a good idea to get it professionally graded and authenticated. The last thing you want is to think you've got $1 million coin, only to find out it's just a regular penny. So, send it off to a reputable coin grading service, and they'll tell you whether it's a true rarity or not. So, if you're sitting on a pile of pennies from 2007, it might just be worth your time to go through them with a fine-tooth comb. Sure, most of your pennies might not be worth more than the 1 cent price tag, but you never know when a tiny error might turn your pocket change into a fortune. As always, knowledge is power, and today, you've learned a little bit about how to spot those hidden treasures. If you found this video helpful, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you can get more tips on what coins are worth money and how to maximize your collection. Who knows, maybe your next coin could be worth way more than you ever imagined. So, you've probably heard the phrase, you can't judge a book by its cover, right? Well, let me tell you, you definitely can judge a coin by its cover, especially if it's a 1985 penny. But not just any 1985 penny. I'm talking about the legendary no mint mark penny. If you've got one of these sitting in your spare change jar, well, you might just want to stop watching this video and run to the bank instead. Or, at the very least, check that jar because, believe it or not, a 1985 no mint mark penny could be worth, wait for it, a whopping $1.40 million. Sounds like a wild claim, right? But stay with me. I'll break it down and explain why this seemingly ordinary penny is one of the most sought-after coins in the world. Stick around, and I'll also share some tips on how you can spot this penny, how to know if yours is the real deal, and what to do if you find one. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll want to check every penny in your collection, and maybe even start keeping a closer eye on your couch cushions. Alright, first, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this coin. The 1985 no mint mark penny isn't something you'll see every day. Normally, pennies minted in the US after 1909 have a mint mark, which tells you where they were made. You've probably seen them. There's the D for Denver, the S for San Francisco, and of course, P for Philadelphia. But in 1985, well, for some reason, a handful of pennies came out without any mint mark. And no, it wasn't some mistake or glitch in the matrix. This was a rare occurrence, and it caused a huge stir in the coin collecting world when it was discovered. But why does that matter? Why does it make this penny so special? Well, it's because that little mint mark, or the lack of it, can change the value of a coin dramatically. Mint marks are typically used to indicate how many coins were made at each facility, so when one pops up without a mint mark, collectors go bananas. And when it's rare, well, that's when things get crazy, and this penny's value skyrockets. Now, you might be thinking, okay, cool, but how do I know if my 1985 penny is worth $1.4 million? Good question. Here's the thing. Just having a 1985 penny isn't enough. You need to check a few things. First, the condition of the coin is huge. If your penny is all beat up, scratched, or full of wear and tear, it's probably not going to fetch much. But if it's in mint condition, if it looks practically brand new, you've got something to work with. Also, check for the exact characteristics of the coin. The no mint mark penny needs to have that clear, crisp look to it. You don't want something that's been worn down over the years or has marks from poor handling. If it passes the eye test, then you're in the game. And let's talk about the market for a second. The value of the 1985 no mint mark penny has been fluctuating, but we're talking about a ballpark figure of $1.4 million at auction if the coin is in pristine condition. Yeah, I know, your jaw might still be on the floor, but that's the reality. People are paying top dollar for this rare coin, and the fact that it was produced in such limited numbers only adds to its value. Now, you might be wondering, where do I sell it? How do I get in on this million-dollar action? Good news, I've got you covered. The first thing you want to do is get your penny appraised by a professional. You don't want to go selling it to just anyone. There are tons of coin dealers out there who can help authenticate your penny, and getting it certified by a grading service will ensure you're getting the right price. It might cost a little upfront, but trust me, it's worth it when you're sitting on a potential gold mine. Imagine walking into a coin shop or an auction and dropping that $1.4 million bombshell. You could totally be the hero of your own coin collecting story. It's like winning the lottery, except you had to be a coin nerd to get there. How awesome would that be? So there you have it, folks, the 1985 no mint mark penny. It's not just a regular penny. It's a rare collectible that could be worth more than your car, your house, or maybe even your entire retirement plan. But of course, the key is finding one in mint condition and getting it appraised by the right professionals. Before I let you go, let me give you one last piece of advice. Start paying attention to your change. You never know when that next big find will come your way. And if you're serious about coin collecting, you'll want to make sure you're subscribed to this channel. I'll be sharing more tips on finding rare coins, strategies for building your collection, and even stories from my own coin hunting adventures, like the time I thought I'd struck gold with a rare 1970s dime that ended up being a total bust. So hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful, and drop a comment below if you've ever come across a weird, valuable coin. You're rummaging through your spare change, trying to find something interesting. Maybe an old quarter, a weird-looking nickel, Or that one penny you've been holding onto for who knows how long? Well, hold onto your hat, because today, we're diving into one of those rare pennies that could have you sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it. Yes, I'm talking about the 1992 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, oh, another coin video, great. Let me stop you right there. This penny is not your average change. In fact, it could be worth $1.5 million. Yes, you heard me right, million. So grab your magnifying glass and let's get into why this humble penny could be the ticket to your retirement fund. All right, let's break this down. The 1992 D penny is one of those coins that can send coin collectors into a frenzy. At first glance, it might just look like a regular penny you've seen 1,000 times. After all, it's from 1992, and you probably have a few floating around in your coin jar. But don't let its age fool you. There's a hidden twist. Some of these pennies were minted with a rare, misplaced mint mark error. Instead of a normal D mint mark, these pennies have a D that's slightly off-center, or even just completely missing. Now, here's where it gets exciting. This little error could make your penny worth millions. Yes, I said millions. In 2021, one of these bad boys sold for a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. That's a lot of coin for, well, a coin. Let me tell you, I once found a coin in my change that I thought might be worth something, so I held on to it for years. It wasn't worth much, just a couple of bucks. But that didn't stop me from fantasizing about retiring on my find. I remember being so convinced I'd struck gold, only to later find out it was just a weirdly worn dime. But hey, you never know. That's why checking your change could be the difference between a couple of dollars and a life-changing windfall. But not every 1992 D penny will make you rich, unfortunately. There are certain things to look for to determine whether yours has that magical error. First, check the mint mark. It should be located under Abraham Lincoln's shoulder on the reverse side of the penny. If the D is misaligned or missing entirely, you've got a potential jackpot on your hands. Also, the condition of the coin is key. Coins that are in near-perfect condition are worth more than those that have seen better days. So, make sure your penny doesn't have scratches, dents, or any other damage that might hurt its value, and it's kind of like buying a new car. If the car's all scratched up and beat to heck, it's not going to fetch the same price as a shiny, well-maintained one. Coins are no different. Another tip is to check if you have a D that's been doubled or distorted in some way. That's when the minting process causes the D to appear twice or slightly off from its original position. These kinds of errors can make your coin stand out and increase its value significantly. All right, let's wrap this up. If you've got a 1992 D penny in your collection, take a closer look. You never know if you've stumbled upon one of these rare, error-prone coins that could have you sitting pretty with a small fortune. But remember, just because it's a 1992 D doesn't mean it's going to be worth $1 million. Pay attention to the mint mark, the condition, and the overall uniqueness of your coin. And while you're at it, why not take a look through your spare change every now and then? You might just find that one-in-a-million gem that could change your life. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on finding valuable coins or learning more about the wild world of coin collecting, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got a lot more tips, tricks, and maybe even a few more pennies worth millions coming your way.